and gentlemen, welcome to IANTV. And I am your host, Anton Scott, along with my partner, Gloria Talley. Tonight, we have a special guest, one I have been waiting to do this show for a while. He is a podcaster, he is a wrestler, he is a model, an actor, an entrepreneur. When I say we're going to do this interview and we're going to give this man his flowers, his name is Luca Brassy of Brassy's World. Welcome.
Thank you guys. I appreciate being here. Couldn't ask for more. So I really appreciate you guys' time and opportunity here. Thank you very much.
No, we appreciate you for sure, being here. I thought it was amazing because Luca, let me tell you something. So it was something that I was listening to and I was watching everything that you were doing and stuff. And I was like, when I found out that you were an author, and I found I was like, so I'm like, oh my God, he's an author, he's a wrestler, he's the owner of a athletic or a gym. Am I right about this?
Yeah. I own a personal training business. Yeah, I run my studio right out of my house. I converted the whole downstairs of my house to a studio, so it's nice to be able to work from home during the day.
Oh wow, I can only imagine. I know what back when we had the pandemic. I don't know, were you still kind of running that whole situation, or how were you doing that?
No, actually, I worked at a local gym when the pandemic started, and I remember when the night when Cuomo told us we had to shut the gyms down. My the general manager was watching the news, and she comes up to me. She's like, "Yo, Luca," she's like, "We got to be out of here by 8." I was like, "You mean like until tomorrow?" She was like, "No." She's like, "Cuomo said we had to shut the gyms down." I was like, "For how long?" She goes, "Well, could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months. We really don't know." And I was like, that kind of reminds me of the cable company when they say they'll be to your house between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Like you ain't got nothing to do all day. I was like, is indefinitely a better way to put it. So she was like, yeah. So that's when I was like, okay, I got to go out on my own. So I just, and everything kind of fell into place for me all at the same time. I got the finances, the opportunity, the space, and everything. So I was like, all right. I was like, let's do it. So I started my own gig.
Well, let's talk about the different things that you have going on. So first of all, we know that you basically you are a podcaster and you're very well known, I would say, among the music community. So tell us a little bit about Brassy's World.
Well, Brassy's World initially, thank you to Valerie Denise Jones. I appreciate her. Couldn't ask for anything more from her. She's great. I'm sure you guys know who that is.
Yeah, I do.
Gloria, I know you do.
Yeah, shout out to Valerie Jones. Yes.
Yeah, so Val was the one that I was connected with, and we knew each other. We never even actually met. We just knew each other through phone conversations and stuff. And after about 2 or 3 months of talking to her, she was like, "Hey," she's like, "I'm starting this platform. Would you like to have a weekly show or a weekly show?" And I said, "Sure." And that was in 2017, and we're up to episode 346 coming up this Sunday. So it's been running since 2017. And it started off, I initially was calling it Brassy's World of Hip Hop. But then the more I thought about it, before the first episode even aired, I changed it to just Brassy's World because I didn't want to be boxed in. Not that I don't love hip hop. Hip hop's a foundation for me. That's how all this started. But I wanted to be able to have all different kinds of people on, whether it be business owners, musicians, artists, someone with just a good story to tell. And that was a really wise decision because I've had some great people outside of music that have been on my show. So really, it's a platform to provide light to anybody who has a story, a business, or someone trying to get more exposure for their careers and everything. And Gloria, you and MJ Savino have been fantastic in that department where you brought me so many great guests, including our last one, Snacko, just the other day. So thank you to you. Appreciate it.
No, we definitely wanted to make sure that you were on our list of all any kind of interviews that we may have, So I just wanted to, and that's actually how, Luca and I we sort of ended up working in that respect. And I think which is really cool. It's like, I know that you have different subject matters that you actually do on there. And I think I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows what it's not necessarily all catered to music, that it's also, it's like a huge community of different networks that are involved with you. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And you said that I heard you say something about Sunday, but I just want to make sure that the viewers get an opportunity to know exactly how to reach you in reference to maybe they're interested in getting on your show,
Yeah.
So go ahead, give us.
Yeah, you can. Anybody can reach me through email if they'd like to be guests, which is lucabrassy85 @gmail and spelled exactly how it sounds. Or you can go to the Facebook page for the podcast, which is just facebook.com/Brassy's World. You can send me a message there, or you can find me pretty easily on social media, Gloria. You know that, so you can reach out to me on any of the platforms. I've booked guests through LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, so people get a hold of me in different ways.
That's excellent.
So right now I'm booked all the way out until November right now. So yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Let me ask you something. When does it come on? I just want to make sure everybody knows when it comes on.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday night. So Sunday, 8 o'clock EST.
Okay, perfect.
Oh,
perfect.
and the call-in number. I want to make sure you got the call-in number. It's 516-666-9834. I call it the Devil's Playground because of the 666.
777. I know. Okay, look, repeat that number one more time so everybody can make sure that they all heard it.
It's 516-666-9834.
Okay. All right, Anton, I'm gonna open up the door for you. If you got any questions referencing his shows?
Not so much referencing the show because I've watched it. I've asked questions and everything, and you're a phenomenal podcaster interviewer. I didn't know, like she said, a lot of things that we was looking at when we started to do the show. Like, you're a wrestler. If you wrestle in high school, college, do you still watch WWE? Like, what do you?
Yeah. I started off with amateur wrestling when I was young, about 13 years old. And then not too long after that, I started getting involved in professional wrestling. And then I did that until the time I was about 18. So I haven't wrestled and stepped in the ring in about 20 years now. But that was how I started in entertainment. That was my first thing that I ever did. And I ended up owning my own wrestling school with my father and a couple other partners. I was the head trainer. I was only 17 years old. And, yeah, and I did a lot of great stuff in the business for being as young as I was. But with success, especially at a young age, comes a lot of jealousy from other people.
Absolutely.
And not saying, hey, look at me, I'm the greatest thing going, but I was a very talented kid. And a lot of people older than me didn't really like that. And it led to a lot of issues for me when I was about 18 years old.
It's amazing to me to hear that older people really weren't supporting. Well, some of the older people weren't exactly supporting you, because usually it's the older people that are actually pushing the younger generation to kind of let's move this. Let's
yeah. Nah, not in that business. It was a really, really competitive business, and a lot of people didn't like the fact that I was so young and I was training other people and I was doing a really good job. And I'm not going to mention who it was, but about a year ago, I found out that one of the young ladies that I trained actually became quite successful in it. And I'm not going to mention any names because I don't know, who wants anybody to know what, but it's a feather in my cap. So I look at that, I'm like, no matter what these people want to believe, I am the only one that trained somebody that actually was successful in this.
See, so, I mean, it's up to you if you want to bring her name up, but at the same time, we respect everyone's privacy. It's up to you.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna leave that one alone just because she didn't acknowledge me, so I'm not gonna acknowledge her. I'm just gonna mention that there was one person that did pretty well, and I was the one that trained her. So
wonderful. Now let's talk about something else now, Luca. So I'm going to be honest with you. I know I have followed you for years and years, well, for a while here, and it was the other night when I heard that you were an author, and then you have I think you're selling one of your books on Amazon. Am I right about that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Tell us about that. That
actually, that whole thing kind of came out of left field because as someone involved in entertainment between pro wrestling and modeling and music and acting, I was sitting down one night and I just was thinking, what haven't I done yet that I want to do? And then I was like, you know what? I haven't written a book yet. And I was like, I'm going to write a book. So I just kind of decided on the spot. And I said, I want to do I knew I wanted to do something nonfiction. I wanted to do something to help people. And so I thought I was trying to think of a subject that a lot of people could relate to and a lot of people might struggle with. And confidence is a big one, and self-doubt. And so everybody on every level, and I don't care who you are, everyone in their life at some point experiences some form of self-doubt. And I thought that's something that a lot of people can relate to. So I thought of a title. I said 20 reasons and 20 ways to diminish self-doubt. And I sat down and I came up with 20 reasons to handle your self-doubt and 20 ways that you can go about doing it. All things that are really personable. And the way I wrote the book is when you start reading it, it's almost kind of like I'm having a conversation with whoever's reading the book. It's not really all about me. I wanted to express myself, but I didn't want it to be 40 sections of me talking about myself. So the way I did it was I would talk about the subjects, and if I had an anecdote from my life that I could relate to what I was talking about, I threw it in there. So that way I could get some of myself in there without making the whole thing about me.
I get it.
It's gotten great response. It actually ended up going #1 in 7 categories when I first released it. Within about a month, it was #1. And yeah, it's done extremely well, and I'm really, really proud of that. And right now, as a give back, it's been free on Kindle for quite a while. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can actually get it for free. And that was my little give back to, everybody. Make it a #1.
That's wonderful. That is one. Do you see another book coming up in your future?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when, but I want to do a fictional book. And I don't have a title for it yet, but I do have a storyboard and character development already pretty much underway. I have no idea when I'm actually going to sit down to start writing it, but there is definitely another one on the horizon. Absolutely fictional this time, though.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. You got a lot of people out here that, such as myself, I'm not going to sit here and lie, Luca. I've been calling myself writing a book for the last, 15 years and still haven't done it. I mean, I started the first few pages and then I stopped. But can you kind of give us a shortened version of what a person needs to do to actually become or try to get into authorship or what have you when it comes to writing?
Well, for me, it was as simple as just making the choice. Like I said, I decided I wanted to write this book, and 4 months later, it was done. I every night I wrote one of the sections, and there was some nights that I skipped and everything, but I tried to make it a point to write at least a little bit, like just about every day. And you can self-publish, and Amazon has made it really, really easy to self-publish yourself now. I didn't want to do that because I wanted to have an actual team behind me to help promote it and everything. And had it not been for that team, I probably wouldn't have had the success that I did with the book. So shout outs to Roger Brooks and his team. I appreciate him and all his help as editors and as the promotional people and people that he had behind him to help push it to where it got to. Which has been great. So really, you just have to, first of all, make the decision that you want to do it. And if you struggle with writing, there are people that you can reach out to that can help you. Okay, if you're not really sure even how to write a book. Myself, I've been writing for years, whether it's music or whatever. So like I kind of just decided I want to do it, sat down, wrote it, and then said, okay, I need a publisher and some kind of team. Did a little bit of research. I found one, and then the rest is history. It was really that simple. It's not as difficult as people think it is.
People make it out to be.
Yeah.
Because I know I kind of did my little so-called research or what have you. This, like I said, I've been doing it like, Luca, you're gonna kill me. It's probably I got like 5 pages written in the last 15 years. I keep stopping. I'm like, then I go back up. But I remember reaching out to different people and they were telling me how to so I thought that was pretty cool because I know there's a lot of people that are interested in writing now. I thought it was fascinating to me. It's become almost a trend now. So, but not everybody, sometimes it's like not everybody really knows exactly what to do to even get started on this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate your kind of dropping knowledge on that. Anton, I'm going to let you take over for that. And if you want to talk about this or whatever else you'd like to speak on.
Okay. So you wrote the book about self-confidence and stuff. Now, my question is, because me and Glo go back and forth about this all the time when we do shows on it about people's mental health and stuff.
Yeah.
But you being a personal trainer and knowing that a lot of people have self-confidence and things like, how do you think that plays with their mental health and getting to their goals of where they feel like they need to be? Because me personally, a part of my story is I went through a divorce. I got up to 620 pounds and now I'm down to 470, but it's like I'm plateauing, and I don't know if it's a mental block where I can't progress further or what it is. So how would you talk to somebody? Because now that she's told me about this, I want to go get the book. Okay. but I don't want to get it on Kindle because I want to support everybody, you know, and I
I
appreciate
appreciate
you
it.
for doing that for everybody and making it free.
That's
But,
beautiful. Yeah.
you know, that's because a lot of people, especially with confidence and mental health and everything, because to me, and like I said, me and Gloria's been talking about it, mental health nowadays is bad.
Yeah.
And everybody needs help.
Mm-hmm.
And people really
So,
need to be confident in
yeah,
what they do. You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what was the question now again? I'm sorry.
The question was, do you think mental health plays a part in the confidence and the goal settings of weightlifting, wrestling, changing your body?
Absolutely, and that's what I make it a point to talk about that exact thing in that book. Any question that you kind of have about stuff like this is I actually talk about in that book.
Okay.
And one of the things that I bring up big time is how your mind controls your body, and it's not the other way around. Mind says, body does. It doesn't go the other way. And
Mm-hmm.
so really what it comes down to is having the right mindset. And I always said when it comes to physical fitness and things like that, you have to have the right mindset. If you go into it with the wrong mindset, you've already you might as well just pack up and go home.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm sure I reference a lot of different movies and stuff in the book, but one of the references I'm going to say is when Mr. Miyagi was talking to Daniel LaRusso, and he says, Daniel, son, we must talk. You walk left side of the road, you're safe. You walk right side of the road, you're safe. You walk in the middle, sooner or later, like grape. You remember that?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with fitness. Either you're going to do it yes or you're going to do it no. If you kind of want to do it, but you're not sure, eventually you're going to crumble.
Yeah.
So it's all about having the right mindset going in. If you hit a plateau or something like that, okay, I'll tell you just quick. Back in 2010, when I've been training people since I was 13 years old in some form, whether it be wrestling, weightlifting, boxing, whatever. I've been training people for more than over 25 years now. And this young lady in 2010 named Mary Beth, who I was training, there was this thing for Gold's Gym back before we became Vent Fitness. I was working for Gold's Gym, which is one of the most respected names in the industry. And they did a thing called a Body Transformation Challenge. And it was a 3-month challenge starting in January every year. And people got 3 months to transform their body. And if you won the whole thing, you got 15 grand, a trip to Las Vegas, a photo shoot, and all this different stuff. And the girl that I trained won the entire thing. The whole thing. And there was a point like in the middle of it when she hit a plateau and she couldn't lose any more weight. So I looked at her diet, and sometimes it's as simple as this. I just moved some things around in her diet. I didn't even necessarily change what she was eating. I changed the placement of certain things.
Right.
And she lost 3 pounds, like immediately.
So you're saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say sometimes it's as simple as if you hit a plateau, you might just have to move things around a little bit. You might have to change a couple of the things you're eating. You might have to change the times that you're eating them. You might have to switch up your workout routine because your body can get used to a diet just like it can get used to a weight routine, you know? So you don't want to do the same things all the time. You want to be adding weights, increasing weights, changing up exercises from time to time to keep your body guessing, you know, because once you get used to it, then you'll stop getting results. So sometimes that's as simple as just making small changes to get over a plateau.
Okay.
You know, it's actually pretty funny that you even say that because I've had my own weight loss journey. I mean, to be fair, I don't even know if you knew this, but I was like, okay, listen, the internet, do not act crazy on this one. All right. But I used to be 306 pounds.
Really?
Yes, I did. And so I ended up going down, you know, and I'm not going into the details of how much I weigh now, but let's just say it's significantly less. Okay. But what I did notice, it was like Anton was talking about, you do reach a certain plateau.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did, and this is so crazy, you tell me if I was right, wrong, because the one thing, you know, in my family history has, you know, a history of diabetes. And so one of the things that I actually realized, well, when you have a history of diabetes and you have this weight gain, constant weight gain, it's because you're putting way too many carbs within your diet.
Yep.
So I kind of really almost cut the carbs off. I mean, like to like a smidgen, really, because I was like, I needed to see how this was going to how my body was going to react. So what I had noticed though, like Anton says, you do eventually hit this plateau and you just steadily, you know, and if you
Yeah.
don't watch out, no matter what you're doing, you'll start gaining again.
Yes.
And so I was like, wait a minute, my body's used to it. So I incorporated walking to it. You know what I'm saying? Just
Smart.
walking, see if it would actually and I noticed it started making sense. Then all of a sudden the next plateau comes. So it's like I get it when you're saying you got to literally keep your body guessing when it comes down to weight loss. It's like, you know, you hold on for a little bit. Once you hit that plateau, what can you change? What placements do you need? Where can you change it? Like if it's morning, you know, if you're, you know, how that all works, you know what I'm saying, with the food and stuff. But yeah, I definitely understand placement. And I thought that was pretty cool that you even brought that up. Let me ask you this. Now I did see something. This is just recent. That's all. And you basically were explaining about bloatiness.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I was like, because the first thing I was like, oh my God. And then I realized what you were saying. No, when you just get off of your path when it comes to your weight or whatever, and you mess around and you just start eating stuff that you would typically eat. Can you explain that to everyone?
Yeah. See, when you are a bigger person, you don't realize when you're ingesting salt and sugar and all that stuff, what it's actually doing to your body because you're used to being a certain size. When I come from weight loss background, when I was 16 years old, I weighed almost 265 pounds. And then I decided to diet down and I lost 70 pounds inside a year. And now, mind you, I was 16 years old. So it's a lot easier at that age than it would be now. But basically what happens is when your body is used to eating a certain diet, a clean diet, you know, lots of, you know, good proteins and things like that, good vegetables, you know, plenty of water and all those different things. I don't drink alcohol. And if I do, it's on a Saturday and it's a couple of beers or something like that, then I'm good. I don't eat heavy carbs and stuff really during the week. You know what I mean? But on Saturdays, I take one day off a week and I eat whatever I want. So ice cream, pizza, tacos, it's all on the list on Saturdays. But the rest of the days of the week, I stay on a strict diet. I went on a cruise. Okay, I left on July 13th, and I just came back on Saturday. And obviously, I was off of my diet. And within 2 days, I woke up in the morning looking like I called Mike Tyson a sissy. My face was so swollen. my face was so swollen. My boy Brad looks at me. He's like, "Damn." He was like, "Dude," he goes, "Oh my God." He was like, "I can't believe." Oh my God, because like they never see me like that. Like my eyes were swollen up, my hands were swollen, my gut was like way out here. And I'm like, this is what happens when you're not used to having this, because I had so much alcohol and sugar and bad carbs and sodium going into my body. That's why I made those videos. I was like, look at me. You can see it in my face. I got more chins than a Chinese phone book right now. I was like, I'm all messed up. I felt horrible, but I was on a cruise. I was on vacation, so I did my thing and I enjoyed it and had fun. I was like, but when I get home, I was like, I'm going to be going on a cleansing diet, which I talked to my girlfriend. She's been,
what the plan was.
Yeah, she's been great about it. I started running. I hate running. It's my least favorite thing to do in fitness, but I started running a little bit for some cardio. And within 2 days, it's already down, you know, because
I'm looking right at you. And I'm just like, you don't look nearly.
No, I was puffy. Like I was puffy when I was making those videos.
I was like, Luca? Yeah.
I know. It was bad. You don't have to tell me.
I don't know. It wasn't that it was bad. But what I realized was as you were talking, you were kind of explaining everything. Well, this is what actually happens when you kind of like go off the path that you're currently on. You will do. But see, a lot of people, it's funny that you should bring that up, because a lot of people, that's when you start losing hope. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people that have weight loss issues or really have problems with their weight. They see that puffiness and then they think, oh my goodness, this is it. You know what I'm saying? But what you're saying is like, no, it's not it. Actually, it almost could be good for you to a certain degree.
Yeah, and you just got to get back onto what you normally do. It's really that simple. Don't let that, have a good time, enjoy yourself, but when it's time to, when it's crunch time to get back down to business, you got to do it. And me as a trainer, I can't have my clients and stuff looking better than I do. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get it.
So I'm like,
That's amazing, though. Now, there's something else we know about you, and we're going to kind of shorten this a little bit because I definitely want to get to Luca Brassy, the artist.
No, thank you.
Okay. Now, what was I going to say? So, when it comes down to okay, Anton, go ahead and ask because I've just lost my train of thought. Everybody, please forgive me.
Okay, so earlier you said hip hop is pretty much what brought you, into the entertainment realm.
Mm-hmm.
What about hip hop did you gravitate toward? What was it? Was it because I'm kind of old, so it's like I remember when we had b-boys and we had MCs, like the things we listen to now. You just got rappers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I miss the old school. When I first got involved with when I first got involved with music, and I started listening to what was current at the time, which was Nelly, Eminem, 50 Cent, and Ja Rule were probably the four biggest artists back in like 03, which was around the time I started writing music. Okay. And I thought to myself, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I started to realize that I had, a little bit of talent for it and I enjoyed it. So I was like, I got to go back and educate myself because I knew nothing about music. I came from the professional wrestling world. And what drew me into music was the way that wrestling ended for me was extremely traumatic. It was a lot of bad things happened. And I'm talking people died, businesses got shut down. It was a really, really bad situation. And I was young. I was involved in some things I probably shouldn't have been involved with at such a young age. But the fact is I did it, and it prepped me for what I was about to go into. Because pro wrestling got me used to being in front of an audience, got me used to, grinding and working on myself and my body and, prepping myself for things and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So when wrestling ended, I was an 18-year-old, very angry kid. And I knew that if I was ever going to find any kind of happiness or peace within, I was going to have to find something that I love just as much, if not more than wrestling. And then suddenly I kind of stumbled into music, and my cousin was involved in music on a very, very local level. Mm-hmm. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but, they used to think that they were a lot bigger than they were. And they were just like little local guys, you know what I mean? And so I asked him if he had any beats they weren't using. He gave me some. And I just started writing and recording on my little karaoke machine, tape to tape, just laying lyrics down and stuff. And then I met my producer in college, my first semester in college, Jay Green, Money Talk. Shout out to you, Jay Green. And I met him first semester in college when I was 19. And I just kind of overheard him talking to some girl on the elevator about some mixtape that he helped this guy release. And I kind of, when the opportunity presented itself, I didn't really knock on the door. I sort of kicked it down and I nudged in on the conversation. I was like, hey, who are you? Where's your studio? And he gave me his card. And 2 weeks later, I was in there for the first time recording. Now, I listened to that first record I recorded with him probably about a year ago, and I'm laughing because I can't believe he let me come back after this.
I think sometimes people just recognize potential. It is what it is.
But what really drew me to answer your question now, what really drew me into it big time was the being able to release what I had inside, because I had so much anger and frustration built up through what I had to deal with through pro wrestling, and I had no outlet for it. And so I was like, you know what I mean? I can't go around beating people up and being angry for the rest of my life. I was like, so I got to find something to channel this energy in a better direction. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I grabbed the pen and I started sitting down and really writing. And I noticed that helped significantly. And I was like, okay. I was like, now I just got to find a studio. And that's when I met Jay, started recording, started releasing little mixtapes and little singles here and there. And then one thing led to another. And here we are today. But the initial thing that really drew me in was the artistic release of the inner self is the best way I could put it.
I also wanted to talk to you about, there's another video that you have. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Magic it's a record that I did with a guy named Accent Grave out of not South Africa, West Africa, excuse me. And he was a fella that hit me up through a woman named Sheridan Rupert, who lives over in Africa, and I haven't heard from her in several years now. But her and I were really doing a lot of different stuff back and forth for a while. And he found me through her and asked me if I wanted to do a record with him. And he asked me if I had any beats that I wasn't really doing anything with, and I sent him a few. And once he heard the beat that Magic was recorded on, he really liked that one, and he was like, yeah, let's do that one. And he laid down all his vocals and everything, and then I laid mine down here. And it's kind of cool how like we put a whole song together from two different countries, and we shot the video. He shot his parts, I shot my parts, and then we just kind of had it all meshed together and everything. And between the song and the video, you can't, it's amazing what technology can do now. I hate technology in some ways and I love it in other ways, because when it's cooperating with you, I love it. But when it's not, like what we just experienced, that becomes a problem. Yeah. So it's a love-hate relationship, I guess. But that song is basically, it's, if you watch the video, it's like kind of like the magic. It's, you're talking to a woman and telling her come with me and feel the magic type of deal, you know what I mean? And it's not a sexual song or anything like that. It's a really fun vibe. And that, honestly, that verse that I have on there is one of my favorite verses that I ever laid down on any record. It's a quick verse, it's only 16 bars, but I love that verse because everything is on point. My voice sounds great. Like the lyrics are good. The flow is there. Like just everything about that verse I absolutely love. And so does everybody else that listens to it, actually.
I can't wait till we play it and we can be able to hear it. Everybody stay tuned, because you're definitely going to see both of these videos toward the end of this broadcast. Also, one other thing, and I believe we understand that you're an actor.
Yeah, I do some part-time acting. Yeah, I do.
Tell us, how did you get into that?
That actually, music brought me to that too. This woman named Jill Camillo, shout outs to you, Jill. She, I was friends with her on Facebook, and she was involved in the film community on a very, very minor level at the time. This was in the end of 2016, beginning of 2017. And she wanted to use Like That actually in one of her movies. And so she messaged me. She's like, hey, I'd like to feature some of your music in some of these films I'm doing. I was like, yeah, sure. Let's set up a meeting. If I'm going to be working with you and you're using my stuff, I want to meet you and know who you are. Exactly. And so we met up at a local restaurant, her and the guy she was seeing, who was the film commissioner actually at the time, and a few of the other actors and stuff that were involved in the project. We all met at a Mexican restaurant, and she liked me so much, she offered me a role. She was like, hey, she's like, would you want to have a role in this? And she's like, do you have any acting experience? I was like, well, I mean, I did pro wrestling. I've been involved with music for years. And I was in War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise as a very minor extra back when I was 19. Really? Yeah. I mean, I'm talking like you couldn't barely see me. There's like one little spot. There's like one little point where you can see me. You could see me in the corner of the screen running up. You know the scene in Koksaki that everybody was running away trying to get on the trolley in the water? Okay, yeah. That's the scene I was in. And so I was in a huge crowd of people. You can't hardly see me or anything. But anyway, so that was the only real acting experience I had for films. And so she was like, that's okay. Let's see what you can do, whatever. And then since then, meeting her led me to other people like Chris Fiore and Sean Ubeli, both from Utica, New York, who have used me in several of their films since. Last summer was a busy filming summer. I did 3 different movies last summer. What's the names of them? Tell us the names of them. Maybe we can. Well, one of them, the very first one I ever did was called My Brother Kane, which was released probably about 2.5, 3 years ago. Okay. And then I did, last summer, I did one called Introspection, where I was one of the lead actors in it. And I was involved in some of the original music for the film. Wow. Myself and IH Vergara, shout outs to you again, IH. My boy Izzy, but we did some original music for that, and I was one of the lead actors, and he was in it. And then I did another one called Graveyard Shark last summer, which just premiered actually about maybe 2.5, 3 months ago. It just premiered out in Utica. And that one's been getting some really, really great reviews, actually. It's independent filming, so I warn people when they go in to see these things. I'm like, if you go in expecting a Hollywood production, I was
Right.
like, you're going to be disappointed. If you go in understanding that it's an independent film
And
and
really,
you can appreciate it for what it is, you'll love it. So you got to, like, again, just like I said about going into things with the right mindset, you got to go in like knowing what you're going into. And then there's a couple more that I've done that still haven't even been released or edited yet. Like I did one called Clark County 3. That one was maybe about 2 years ago. I did that one. And I played all different parts. I played the hero, the villain, extras, background people. And Dead Man's Party was another one that I just did actually maybe about 6 months ago. And that was just a couple of weekends. And I was just an extra in that one too. But it was actually, I wore this. It was a party scene, so I actually wore this for that.
Oh wow. Well, that's something. I'll be honest. I think I would probably be, if I got into acting, which I don't foresee that, because I don't think I can really convince people I am that person in that character. I would probably be more interested in the method. Is it called method acting? Where yeah, that's like you kind of just, they give you something and then you just automatically take it and it becomes yours. You just sort of like from a subject matter and you just go with it. Am I right in saying that?
Yes. Jack Nicholson is probably one of the best method actors that's ever lived. He's my favorite actor.
Yeah.
And certain roles that he did, like when he did the Joker for Batman back in 1989, he even said that it took him months to come out of that role because he became
became the role.
Yeah, it literally changed him. And sometimes that happens. Like actors become so involved in what they're doing. Like, have you ever seen what's that movie with Jim Carrey, Man on the Moon, where he played Andy Kaufman?
Yes.
If you watch the behind the scenes of that, he actually became Kaufman. Like, and literally, Andy Kaufman's parents went out to visit him and everything and said he was just like him. And he was literally annoying people on the set because of how he was acting. Like, even when the cameras were off.
Yeah, I think I actually heard about him that he has a very hard time of disengaging himself from certain roles.
And that was one of them. He literally became Andy Kaufman, and it got really, really bad on set. He was like pissing people off like real bad.
Right. Well, that sometimes they actually got to go in and do some type of therapy in order to be kind of relieve themselves from that, right?
Yeah, fortunately, that hasn't happened to me yet.
Okay. Can you imagine them kind of locking in on that? All of us, I don't know. I can't even imagine it. I can't.
Yeah.
Anton, you got any questions you want to ask him? Because I know somebody over there loves the idea of possibly getting into acting. Hello.
Yeah. So like, it's okay. I'm a nerd. I read comics. I'm into, sci-fi and all kind of things. Yeah, acting is one thing I would love to end up getting into one day. So I know you've done a lot of pretty much independent films. If you could pick your dream role, would it be like a Marvel movie? Would it be like you said, Jack Nicholson's one of your favorite actors? Would it be a movie with him, like a old school gangster picture? Like, what would be your go-to?
See him.
You just hit the nail right on the head. That I would love. I mean, the name says it all. I would love to do a role like Al Pacino in Scarface,
I see it.
or Robert De Niro from Goodfellas, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be something that I could and I've gotten into all the roles that I've done.
Right.
But that would be a role that I feel like I could really, really get into and take ownership of,
I'm not even sure why. I don't know. I've seen a couple of, quite a few pictures of you actually. And there's certain pictures that I've seen. I'm like,
the wise guy,
he's like, it was like so many different things. I was like, yeah. So when you're saying, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. That would probably be one of your favorite picks. I can only
Yeah,
imagine. I can
definitely.
only imagine. So Anton, we're actually getting ready to come to the end of this beautiful, beautiful podcast. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I've truly enjoyed talking with you and getting to know
Me
even
too.
more about you. I think that is amazing. You have just really blown my mind with a lot of things that I recently discovered about you. I mean, I knew you were into music and I knew you did this, but then at the same time, I never knew I knew the act. Yeah, act. No, you were a model also. Now, do you still do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, no, I don't do modeling anymore unless an agency would get a hold of me. But I was signed to CNY Mode Agency for about 2 years, and that was something. It was fun. I had a few little gigs through them, and it was cool to put on a resume. You know that you were actually signed to a modeling agency.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's not something that I like went out of my way really to pursue. Like
Mhm.
hardcore, like not. It's nothing like music and acting and writing and that type of stuff. It's nothing like that. That was just something kind of extra that I was like, you know what? I've never been a model either. So let me do that. Let me get signed to an agency. And I found one that was looking for people. And I was like, yeah, I was like, cool. Let's sign me up. And I was like, give me some gigs.
I think
So
that's really cool, though. I mean, just listening, a lot of things I've actually said to different artists, like some people are getting to to the point in their lives that it's kind of time to put down one thing and try to figure out what's your next move. You know what I'm saying? So listening to you, you've actually been doing that throughout your life. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, honestly, big ups to you in reference to that, because you're actually showing people exactly
thank
what
you.
it is you really need to do to continue
Thank
to
you.
be prevalent. You know what I'm saying? And you are very relevant. You truly are. So
Thank you.
I'm so serious. But Anton, you got any other things that you would like to discuss with Luca?
No, brother, I just want to give you your flowers. Like, you know, people watching this interview, I want them to take away like everything you really said. Like, you're not complacent in anything you do. You keep pushing forward and you're doing more things. A
Reinventing.
lot of people, like we know artists that we've talked to, and they just some of them want to stay in a certain box. And sometimes you got to step outside that box to get to where you want to go in life. And I just commend you, my guy. Like, keep doing what you're doing, and trust me,
Thank
you got a
you.
fan in me.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. I appreciate the
Yeah.
kind words. Really. Thank you so much.
Well, listen, we really appreciate you. We really want to kind of express our gratitude toward you once again for what you've done for GT Management and their artists. So, and honestly, for a lot of other different artists that are out there, like I've seen you from time to time, entrepreneurs, what have you. I'm just, I'm thankful for people such as yourself, and that was one of the main reasons.
Thank you.
Like, we decided, I didn't know of anybody that's ever done this. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we give back and let's bring the ones that interviewed everybody. Let's bring them in for their own interview, because there's so much more that people needed to know. So I wanted to thank you so much for being with us and sharing everything about yourself with us. And we are truly looking forward to seeing a lot of things referencing yourself. And we're also going to be looking forward to making sure that we get more artists on your show. You know what I'm saying? So again, shout out your show time, your show day, and your show time to let
Sure,
everybody know.
yeah. It's Brassy's World every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So whatever time is that is where your location is, it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, and that phone number one more time.
Yeah, it's 516-666-9834, the Devil's Playground.
Okay. Okay. Well, Luca, we really appreciate you, and thank you so much for taking the time to work with us.
Your mind, now lose your mind, one more time.